Welcome in, Hawks fans. Your boy Bryce Lewis back at it again for more Believe in Hawks. Summer League is upon us. Hawks play in the Summer League Friday. You may be listening to this Friday, so that would be today. Or if you listen to this on Thursday, it will be tomorrow. Either way, Hawks play in the Summer League Friday, 4:30 on. I believe it's going to be on ESPN2 versus the Miami Heat. So you'll be able to catch that first game against them on Friday, like I mentioned. And we're going to dive into that. Then also we're going to dive into seeing a lot more players posting workout videos. Nique and Vic Krejci. We've seen the Jalen TikToks. Trae Young always posting he's working. Dyson Daniels getting people excited. We're going to talk about, though, what we're seeing from the team this offseason, obviously entering a very crucial offseason for this team, as it seems like the expectation of winning is taking a step forward with this franchise. And then obviously bouncing off of that, who I believe could be the most important players to that success and more. So I appreciate you guys tuning in Believe in the Hawks. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment down below about anything we discuss. We're almost to 2,000 subscribers on YouTube, so please double again, hit that subscribe button, help your boy hit 2K. Appreciate all the love and support through the journey so far. And, if there's anything I can do for you guys, definitely let me know for sure. And obviously follows me on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, at Bricey_2K, BRICE_2K, to keep up with all my Hawks takes and just talking about Summer League. I'll live tweet during the game. And so, way to be interactive with me on there. So, like I said, guys, appreciate you guys. And let's go ahead and dive into it. So, as I mentioned, Summer League coming up for the Hawks. And, the Summer League portion is kind of interesting. It's interesting, but it's also kind of important for the team, right? The Hawks right now, they have some interesting players that a lot of people are going to be watching. Obviously, let's just start with the most obvious person, Kobe Buffkin. Right now, still positioned as Trae's backup point guard. I know a lot of people have jumped off the Kobe Buffkin train just with the lack of playing that he's done the last few years, injuries, and then some people feeling like they haven't seen enough from him in the time he's played. And on top of that, some people thinking he's not really a point guard, he's a two guard. And so there's been a lot of stuff, a lot of conversation about Kobe Buffkin. He's healthy, he's ready for Summer League. Last year, if you remember, he got shoulder was the first time we heard about the injury he had. Missed the Summer League, played in the preseason, then got hurt there after the last game. So, or not after the last game, but, he got hurt a little bit into the season. So he's going to be a guy that obviously people are going to look at. What are some things that I'm looking out for? Does he look comfortable? Summer League's always kind of hard to gauge because not every player you're playing against is going to be, I guess you want to say, of NBA level, I guess, because a lot of these guys are just trying to hope to get a tryout in Exhibit 10, a two-way deal with a lot of teams. Some of these guys are, G Leaguers, things of that nature. But you obviously are playing at times against some other really good talent and some good teams. So Kobe, I just want to see him be comfortable. I want to see his command the offense and pick and roll. And just, I always say rehabbing can sometimes be the best thing for a player because all you have time to do is work on your game, work on whatever you're trying to do because you have time. Obviously you're rehabbing. So that's your main focus. But, did Kobe come back this year with anything? And like I said, Summer League is designed to try to showcase everybody. It's not a focused game plan on, okay, we're going to let Kobe Buffkin intentionally try to go get 30. If he gets 30, great. But I don't, this it's the Summer League, man. So they get I think 4 games this year. So for opportunities. And I've said this too. I've said, Kobe Buffkin looks good. I wouldn't be surprised if the Hawks, if they feel like they've seen enough, shut him down. So, especially if he is expected to be a very important part of the rotation this season just because he is Trae Young's backup. So I just want to see that from him. Just like I said, command of the offense and just him getting comfortable. Plus, this is a good opportunity for him to get the rust off, not playing basketball for a while now, just getting some playing time, be able to get, like I said, ability just to play basketball. and kind of just let him go from there. So I'll be intrigued to see how he kind of comes along in the process. And, as a lot of people are, they're going to very much comment on this game. I look forward to seeing how people react to Kobe Buffkin tomorrow. I have a couple other names, obviously. Asa Newell, Georgia draft pick for the Hawks, first round. Another guy you're obviously going to be looking at. How does the rookie do? He's been posted a lot of summer league clips for the Hawks. Another guy who he's listed as a forward. So I know there's some conversation about, is he a center? Is he a forward? They still may play him at center. They officially only have one center on the roster in Jake Stevens. And I think that, I think Asa is just kind of, he's just kind of there to kind of just, show the Hawks why you like them. The athleticism, the rebounding, the defense, the ability to get putbacks, things of that nature. I think I want to see how he does on the boards. I want to see how his energy is, and I want to see how active he is defensively. Those are three things I'm looking for out of him, because I think it's very important for him to kind of just show the Hawks coaching staff, hey, you can use me in different ways, because he is a guy who some people consider a tweener. How does he guard a 5? How does he guard a 4? Is he a guy who, I'm assuming he'll take some threes during this, since that's a shot he can take, even though he's not great at it right now. How does his shot look? Obviously, I don't know how much work he's put in between the draft and now, just because, it's a very short turnaround. Obviously we know he's been in practice, but I don't know how much time he's just been working at his game since the end of the college basketball season. So, just want to see his athleticism, see everything that the Hawks like about you on film, on the court, and just be active. And it'll be an interesting matchup tomorrow, because, like I said, even though he's not the center, we'll see, because they may play him at center and then Jack Stevens come out the bench. But Khalil Ware is, I think, still playing for the Heat in the summer league. I could be wrong. If he is, though, that will be a really good matchup to see how he does against an NBA level player, a starter at that, in Khalil Ware. So because I know the summer league's been going on. I think Miami's been playing in the earlier portion of summer league, I think. But I would feel like after a while they would sit him down. I don't know if they're sitting him down for Vegas or not. So that would be a really good matchup to keep an eye on tomorrow, if that does indeed happen. Then obviously another guy that's been mentioned, Kobe Johnson, the brother of Jalen Johnson. A guy who I think a lot of people aren't expecting him to become this player who makes the team, but he's just interesting because, again, he's Jalen's brother. And then also his strength. Coming out of UCLA, he is a guy who is a really good defender. That is his strength, and that's how, if he makes any league roster, he's going to make the team. His defense. That is what he was known for. And at UCLA, and I think he said it in the summer league, pre-presser earlier this week, he said, I want to show that I'm the best defender in the country. And, I think Kobe, he's been working with Jalen. I know they've been doing with Chris Johnson Hoops, who's obviously a very known trainer who's worked with a lot of players in the league. He's been working with them, and I think he's a guy who, I think, like I said, people are going to be intrigued by him just to see what he does. Because if he shows what he can do defensively, I think a team may be interested enough to pick him up. I mean, the Hawks have like one two-way left because they just re-signed Jacob Toppin to a two-way deal, which I'll get into in a minute with him. So I think overall, Kobe at best, maybe what you get your Exhibit 10, and you just kind of work, and this is a great opportunity to kind of show teams what you can do. And like I said, the Hawks can easily change their mind if they feel like, oh my God, he's so impressive, we got to get him on a two-way on that last two-way deal. But we'll have to see. He's just a guy, like I said, we'll have to see what he can do. And obviously offensively, which is where his biggest question marks are, how does he perform offensively? Is he aggressive offensively? What does he show on that side of the ball? So another guy to keep an eye on for sure. I feel like there's like a bunch of people because I can get into, right? I've talked about Kobe. Let's talk about Nique. If you remember, Nique was the second round draft pick last year for the Hawks. They list him as a guard forward. A lot of people have talked about him because with that backup point guard spot, the Hawks have tried him at point guard, kind of letting him get more familiar with that. He's kind of a combo guard, but they're letting him get familiar with that. He also has some athleticism and some burst. So I'm assuming, again, I don't know what the starting lineup's going to be. I mean, they could come out tomorrow and have him play two spot with Kobe Buffkin. So I don't know what exactly they're going to do. I'm sure they're going to give him opportunities on ball to kind of facilitate, kind of run it a little bit, see how he does, see how his growth's been. Because remember, he spent last year essentially in the G League. Because the Hawks could have easily stashed him overseas and then brought him in this year. They stashed him in the G League. He wasn't even with the team officially. He was just signed a contract with the Skyhawks. And, he's coming into this offseason with an opportunity to kind of show his progress. A lot of people are looking at him as a popular name to get that last two-way spot for the Hawks. And listen, that wouldn't be a move that I would be against. If he shows it, I don't see why not. And so he's a guy that I think people, like I said, have a very close eye on as well in the backcourt. It's just, how does he perform? Does he look more comfortable? Because last year you could see the athleticism from him, but you also could see the wildness, the looseness with the ball, just him not maybe being used to being the primary creator on offense in terms of like facilitation, and using that now and that experience he's gotten over the last year, and like, okay, how far have you came? Because that's, like I said, that's a big thing for Summer League too for a lot of these players. It's an opportunity to show, okay, how far has this guy came since last year, especially if, he wasn't playing for you on your main roster or he was in your G League system. So he's another guy a lot of people are looking at, keep a close eye on as well. And so then you get into the last guy I want to get into, Jacob Toppin. So I actually originally was going to come in this video and talk about Jacob Toppin could be very much a candidate for a two-way. But as I mentioned just a couple minutes ago, Hawks have signed him to a two-way deal. And I think the only person that they have an offer out to that they're waiting to hear from is Keaton Wallace, right? Because he's still in the mix as well. And maybe Nique could play a part. But Jacob Toppin's always been an interesting player to me. He is a guy who I think has showed some pop over the last year. I mean, he played really well with the Skyhawks last year. Apparently, he played really well. I think he was I can't remember what G League team. I know he was at New York's G League team at some point. If not the last team he was with. But he came to the Skyhawks, played really well. I think he was averaging like almost 20 a game. Played the one game for the Hawks. Had like 20 plus against the Magic. Obviously against their second and third stringers. And guy who's really seemed like who's improved his three-point ball. Big thing for him, he's 6'8", so could play that three. He's still maybe what you consider a little light. I think the last time I saw some weight was like 200. So I don't know if that's ideal. He has, because you're thinking, okay, Rich Krejci's skinny, but he's like 6'8" or whatever. I'm curious to see how he does. He's a guy who, depending on the situations with the roster, I could see him. I don't want to say get playing a lot, but I could see the Hawks giving him some chances at times during the season. And I think a lot of it is dictated on how he performs in the Summer League, and just what he does. Because I would not be shocked, and this is just me, I wouldn't be shocked if he was our leading scorer from the Summer League team. I would not be shocked. He has shown offensive pop with the Skyhawks, and like I said, in the one game he played for the Atlanta Hawks, and even when he was in New York. So I'm curious to see, does that continue? Clearly, the Hawks liked him enough to give him one of those two-way spots, which so far they've gave him to two wings. So, I'm gonna keep an eye on him as well. I think there's a handful of guys you can keep an eye on. Obviously, the other guys who are on the team are trying to make an impression. I could come back on here after the game and be like, this other guy made this impression on me, and so on and so forth. So I'm curious to really see, how he does for sure. Obviously, Lamont Butler is another guy to keep an eye on. And Eli, the other two-way guy, is another guy to keep an eye on as well. So there's definitely multiple dudes to keep an eye on for the summer league team, and I'm very interested. Listen, they say summer league is for the sickos, so I will be a sicko as I am at work at 4:30, and I will be having the summer league on my phone in the middle of a show. Because I'm like I said, I want to watch these guys and see how they do, and that way I can come on here and tell you guys, okay, well, this is what I saw and what you guys saw. So obviously, before we move on, definitely let me know, who are you paying attention to in summer league? Who do you want to watch? Who are you interested in? What are you looking to see? Just everything. What about summer league are you most excited about? Who are you most excited about? And leave your thoughts down below in the comment section. But speaking of the summer league team and now going to the main NBA roster, the Hawks, we know about their offseason so far. They've gotten a lot of buzz from the media. A lot of people think of the Hawks take that next step next year. And one thing I've loved through this offseason, and listen, maybe I'm just a basketball junkie, but you've seen the workout videos with Jalen. You've seen the workout videos with Trey. Just today, at the time of this recording, the Hawks posting Nique Alexander Walker, and Vic Krejci working together in the gym, Hawks gym, together, working out. Saw over 1 minute plus video. Love to see guys getting in work. Dyson Daniels has been putting in a lot of work. I posted a video on X, got a lot of views. Just Dyson working. Looked like he got a little crossover. Looked like he working on the mid range. I mean, you could sense this team wants to get better. They want to improve. They want to win. And I think that's always been the biggest thing with this team. It's just they want to win. Right? And you got to put in the work to do it. So I've just been thoroughly impressed by that and what they've been doing. And obviously, Kristaps Porzingis coming in will be a great addition to the team. Luke Kennard, we know what he brings to the table. And like I said, Nique already working. We know what he brings to the table. He'll be a very valuable part of this team for the Hawks. We know Trae Young's important, Okongwu, all those guys. But at the end of the day, for me, this season comes down to 3 guys for the Hawks. And that is Dyson Daniels, Zaccharie Risacher, Jalen Johnson. In Jalen Johnson's case, and I'll start there, it's just about health for him, staying healthy. Because I think now there's a question of, is he the number 2 or number 3 guy with Kristaps there now? But nonetheless, I mean, you want to see Jalen pick up where he left off last year. A lot of people feel like even if he didn't make the All-Star game, he would have been a fringe All-Star player. And so he's a guy that, if he could stay healthy, just his ability to kind of do it all, even in this version of the Atlanta Hawks, is so important because, like I said, he could facilitate. We know about his ability to attack the rim. He's, like they say sometimes, you're the biggest and strongest guy on the field. I mean, not the field, on the court. And sometimes you need to take advantage of your mismatches because my guy David Lee, he broke it down on X, Twitter. And he said, listen, the one thing about Kristaps Porzingis, because of his ability to shoot, there's going to be even more spacing than there has been for the Hawks this year, when he's on the floor especially. And so you had guys like Tatum and Brown for Boston being able to take advantage of matchups because of that, because they knew they had the space to get to the rim. They said, who is that? Is Jalen the guy to take advantage? Is he the one who could benefit the most from Kristaps Porzingis being there and allowing him to now have more open lanes and a more of a clean driving lane to the rim? Because like we always said with Clint Capella, is that he just didn't fit what Quinn wanted to do at the end of the day, because he is a very in-the-paint guy, and at times that can very much limit spacing. For Kristaps, he may be over in the corner, top of the key, wherever. And so that creates opportunities for guys like a Jalen Johnson to take advantage of his matchups, especially if he's going against a smaller or a weaker guy than him. If he can stay healthy, he will be crucial to what the Hawks do this season. And he still will be just as important. And people still have very, very high expectations for him and what they want to see from him this year. And then Zaccharie Risacher. I mean, Brad Rowland, when I had him on earlier this offseason, mentioned for Zach, there's a difference between him being a really good shooter and a great shooter. And, people have entertained the whole Jalen playing the 3 thing. I've said that I do not think Jalen Johnson's game is a 3 type of game. It just, he seems like he plays more like a 4. He doesn't play like a 3 to me. But I understand why people want to see it just to can he do it? But at the end of the day, I don't think the Hawks want to move Risacher out the starting rotation because of what he brings. His defensive versatility, his ability to cut. And if he continues to improve his shooting, and just like I said, for him, just consistency. If he can just stay consistent, the sky's the limit for him. He just will be so crucial because there were some games definitely where you're like, we just got more from Zach, we win this game. And that's why I mentioned consistency, because if he could just consistently give you a certain output a game, then obviously, you're an NBA season, you're going to have that outlier 30-point game and the outlier 4-point game. It happens to everybody. But for Zach, him taking another step, and whatever the Hawks said to him at the end of the year, they said, hey, Zach, we need you to be really good at this next year. Whatever in the grand scheme of what they need from him this year, if he can really do that role, that specific job that has been given to him extremely well, that will bode very well for the Atlanta Hawks and what they're trying to do. Because listen, if the Hawks make the playoffs, remember something. I mean, he's had a taste of playing ball, but he hasn't had a taste of actual playoff basketball yet. There's going to be some up and downs with him. That's just, if you watch the NBA playoffs, you know what I'm talking about. There's just going to be players who just are up and down. Like even the second best player in Oklahoma City, J-Dub, had some terrible games, terrible stretches of games, but he also had masterful performances. It's just part of the playoffs. You're playing the same team as much as 7 times. So that can happen. And, Zach's no different if he's in that situation. But if he continues just to make those strides as a shooter, and he said it in an interview with Giannis's brother, if you could just have a skill, and that's what you heard a lot of players say, if you just have a skill that you can rely on, that in it itself can keep you in the league and also keep you on the floor and then allow you to build the rest of your game. He talked about having, okay, if I can do this, I got to be able to do this too. If I can't do this, what's my answer to that? And so Zach understands, okay, if I'm going to be legit, I gotta get a skill and be great at it. And right now for him, he's a really good cutter, right? Good defender, great around the rim. I said he was masterful in offensive putbacks. But for him, if he can really get that shooting down, Zaccharie Risacher, I think we'll be in for a really good second year from him. And then lastly, Dyson Daniels. And I think Dyson, out of the 3 of them, could be considered the most important out of all 3, even though they're all important. Because if Dyson, and people have mentioned this, some people have said, could Dyson take a Jimmy Butler type of leap next year? If you remember, Jimmy Butler coming into the league was a defensive player. He was not an offensive guy. Offense was not his strong suit. That was not his thing. And then he came back. I think D Rose was hurt, and he became a solid offensive option, and obviously ended up becoming what he became in his career, and then what he is now. From the clips that we've seen from Dyson, he's been working on the trying to dribble, attack off the dribble, some mid range, pull ups. We know that Dyson wants to improve his offensive game. He has spoke very vocally about wanting to improve his offensive game. If he becomes an offensive threat, it changes the whole dynamic for the Hawks. because now teams could look at the Hawks and say, okay, we got to try to control Trey, do something with Jalen Johnson, do something with Porzingis, right? So they're probably going to say, we will, if we have to, we will allow Zaccharie Risacher or Dyson Daniels to beat us, right? And that's why I said it's important for Zach to be able to, improve his shooting. But for Dyson, if he shows, hey, I can break your defense down, create off of that, get a jumper, get a midi, different variations to his offensive game where he becomes a consistent bucket for this team. And I'm not thinking Dyson's going to become some 25 game score, but even if Dyson becomes like a 17 a point game guy, 16 a point game guy, that just changes the dynamic because now it's like, if we try to trap Trey, Dyson has the ability to beat us. And like I said, at the end of the day, as an NBA team, you're going to take your chances, especially at the beginning of the year. Beginning of the year is going to be where Dyson has his opportunities. Teams are going to be like, all right, show us that you can shoot. Show us that you were an offensive threat and we need to plan for you. And so all the work he's doing now, he's been, like I said, he's worked with Phil Handy, one of the great trainers, great coaches in this league, to get his game where he wants it to go. If he takes that step offensively, I mean, I will be very much thinking the Hawks will be in finals talk conversation. That's how important I think Dyson is to this season. And obviously his health as well. Health for everybody. But Dyson has a really strong opportunity to really put pressure on opposing teams if he really develops the offensive game. And we saw improvements in his game last year, but we also saw he still has a lot more to get better at. He's working, and he's coming. So, really excited to see what Dyson Daniels does, and we'll have to see. Like I said, the whole offseason, everybody's working, training, trying to get better before camp. It's July, so, I mean, they'll probably be back in sesh. So I think they have some pre-training camp practices like September. And then you have media day in October, then training camp. So we'll have to see what the Hawks do and how they put it all together, man. But obviously, we'll have to see. So I'll be keeping an eye on the Summer League game. I'll give you guys my thoughts on the game if there's something to be given a thought on. Summer League can very much vary. First game usually probably will just because it's the first game. And then we'll go from there. So I appreciate you guys tuning in for another Believe the Hawks episode. Obviously, if you enjoyed this episode, subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment down below. Audio listeners, please leave a 5-star rating on the podcast so more people can see the podcast. Follow me on Twitter at Brycey_2K for all my Hawks takes. Definitely do that so you can interact with me, talk to me, and everything under the sun. And like I said, we're going to keep an eye on. Summer League season is here. We'll see what the Hawks do. I told y'all who I'm interested in. Let me know who you're interested in seeing. Let me know about anything else in this video that you have a question about or, think about what I've talked about today. So appreciate you guys. It's your boy Bryce Lewis. See you next time.